Watcham down there, which is on the bad side of Streatham, which is on the bad side of Brixton. I know the area very well. In Tolworth, in a leisure centre, which is an oxymoron, that's a contradiction in terms, at the Tolworth Leisure Centre, right now, at about 9:30 in the UK, walking to the ring, being paid absolutely zero, is Tony Yoka trying to reignite his professional boxing career. If ever there was a story of two sides, if ever there was a story warning people that that gold medal can change your life, it can also haunt your life. So that's what's happening. Mosley's winning this fight here, and her former husband, the once great, the fallen gold medal idol of all, France, is fighting for peanuts over 6 rounds against the guy who's lost 15 times. That, my friend, is a good story.
That is an incredible story with contrasting fortunes. It's probably a massive understatement there. And how's she getting on?
Well, she's winning this round, but it's tough because she's fighting a guy called Gisela Gonzalez from America, who is fighting like this is the last fight of her life. She doesn't want to lose. And you know the interesting thing, I was talking to Lawrence earlier on, okay, to Jules, and he said to me, he said, Steve, if Tony, he said it in a French accent, obviously, he said, Steve, if Tony Yoka was here, he would have been one of those 7 or 8 athletes, the final people that carried that torch. Instead, he's in South London fighting for peanuts, whilst his former wife is in the ring here fighting for a place in the next round at the Olympics.
And he would have got an incredible reception had he been part of that procession of people who were taking the torch on its final journey. Tell you what though, it sounds amazing inside the arena.
Well, I'm with Kate, you know, one of our producers, and she is so excited. She's never been at boxing. This place is rocking. They've come out for Estelle Mosley and they're loving it.
賽剩低30秒。
咁我覺得咧，江文慧而家其實應該可能咧可以即係 hold 一 hold 住先，等呢20秒嘅時間過咗佢。咁利用嗰1分鐘時間咧，同阿 Taffy 教練咧就商量一下咧，嚟緊嗰個戰術咧就會比較好啲。因為而家夾硬再去做進攻咧，咁啊都未必係一個好嘅選擇。
佢會冇聽熱傷講。
唔緊要嘅，
你係講啱咗嘅，亦都係中咗嘅。
係啊。咁我一陣都應該會講啱㗎啦，就係佢同阿 Taffy 教練咧喺個1分鐘之後咧商量完嘅話，我相信佢喺第2局嘅話咧，即係可能喺動作上啊、戰術上面啊，就作出一個調整咧，就會打得好啲。
好啦，今次真係聽熱傷講啦，咁就而家1分鐘休息，佢應該就會同教練商量一下策略，咁睇下會唔會有好轉啊？大家。
不如問下兩位啊，即係第1節嘅呢3分鐘咧，見到馬龍好似都打得非常之順㗎，佢嗰個優勢喺第一節佢係主要喺邊度？
我覺得馬龍嘅優勢係佢比較敢做動作啊，即係你見到佢打咗幾劍進攻出去咧，其實佢都係好肯定嘅個動作係，而且係喺好短促嘅時間去完成，所以變咗咧江文慧咧去反應佢個動作嘅時候咧就係慢咗好多。
同埋我想問咧，就係1分鐘之後冇人有任何動作，因為被動而停咗㗎嘛。喺嗰一刻，現場嘅觀眾全部為馬路而打氣，我哋都唔係佢肚裏邊心裏條蟲，但係佢之後就唔同咗個打法。
係啊。
有啲乜嘢細微嘅位置，作為教練或者運動員可以同觀眾分享下咧？有啲乜嘢可能係改變咗咧？
即係我諗現場嗰個氣氛咧，即係對運動員嚟講咧，即係都會有好大嘅影響嘅。即係當阿馬路一攞分，咁然後現場嘅觀眾有好多打氣嘅聲，咁啊令到阿馬路嗰個信心咧，其實更加會強咗，都係即係唔出奇㗎。咁但係即係見到江文慧其實頭先落後緊嘅時候咧，就佢好想快啲去追到啊！即係我覺得而家佢反而係有少少心急。
你估教練同佢講咩咧？就係
其實我頭先見到教練做一個手勢嘅，就係咧就係向左邊擋一擋。我估咧教練咧係會想叫佢做一啲壓劍，將對方把劍咧壓走咗之後咧，再去做一個進攻㗎。咁我睇下咧，就係江文慧係咪會即係轉換一下啦？因為馬路把劍都即係對住江文慧咧係對得比較好㗎。啱啦，而家其實佢就要慢慢細步逼上去先，咁佢就係想嘗試咧係慢慢入咗佢嚟之後咧，就突然之間加速咧係去攞阿馬路把劍，將佢撥走之後咧就去做一個進攻。
都好相當。
OK，係啊，教練都點頭 OK 嘅呢下，即係起碼佢係即係有做到教練咧就係所即係提供俾佢嘅一個意見㗎。
雙燈咁啊，可能有部分觀眾而家先嚟睇啦。咁啊，其實喺呢個項目咧係有機會雙彎齊吉中嘅時候咧就會雙燈，大家都會得分嘅。所以而家比分係5-1。
咁如果江文慧咧真係即係最尾想做進攻嗰下咧，就即係佢要果斷啲啊！
防守好壓抑啊！呢點佢捉到對手出嚟防住啦，但係就可能有少少手緊，就吉唔到對方。
係啊，即係佢引到馬路衝出嚟㗎，防守之後咧滑田擊嘅時候咧，隻手收後咗少少，所以咧就俾對方吉得慢咗啊！咁變咗一個次佬先，一個慢啲啲咧就做唔到個雙燈啊，俾阿馬路咧都係攞咗個單燈。
呢點都係防嘅。
係啊，都係捉到個防㗎啦都。
咁佢而家就向裁判試換劍，咁可能就作出一啲技術嘅調整。
係啦，防咗嘅，不過係啦，即係好明顯喺慢鏡度咧就見到咧就係即係刺嘅時候咧就慢咗少少。咁啊，江文慧都聰明嘅，即係利用呢個時間咧就換劍，其實就唔係佢把劍壞咗，佢係想利用呢少少嘅時間咧，即係停一停，首先就係諗下自己可以做啲乜。第二咧就因為而家對方嘅氣勢咧太強啦，咁咧就窒一窒對方先停一停佢啊。
香港觀眾喺屋企都要一路嗌出聲都可以嘅，幫江文慧加油打氣。
呢啲名副其實集氣咯，嗌出嚟咯 ，Come on，Go on！
翻到比賽，而家係7-1，法國選手領先㗎。
係啱啊，好劍好劍啊，攞到啦！
冇錯，一換完劍之後即刻出嚟攞一分先。咁啊，可能觀眾都未必了解好清楚，我哋打3節嘅，每節3分鐘，先到15分咧就係贏嘅。
咁我覺得江文慧而家做呢個攞劍嘅動作啊，或者防守嘅動作都係啱嘅，但係佢隻手咧可以放喺前少少個位置去做，因為佢只要隻手咧一收得後少少咧，就會比馬路似得快過佢。所以咧，咁佢首先喺預備嘅時候咧，都放前呢隻手，再去做動作，然之後做個伸展嘅話咧，就會比對方似得快。呢個都係一個雙燈。
OK 啊，教練話 OK。
放前呢隻手去做動作，因為啊馬路個起動啦，完成個動作都係比較快。好劍防到啦，終於都呢劍好靚嘅，你見到佢一防完即刻出到手啊呢劍，同埋個距離拉得啱啱好啊，啱啱好一拉開之後咧，手喺前面一防就即刻可以還擊到啊呢一劍，冇收後隻手啊，因為收後咗再出咧一來咧就係慢咗啲少少嘅時間。
好，4-8，暫時咧就係江文慧暫時攞4分嘅。
要小心腳步啊，因為好多時還唔到擊都係腳步冇企穩。
劍嘅一個弓步進攻，
雙燈都係
唔錯嘅嘗試嚟嘅，但係可能仲要俾多少少壓迫感個對手，
係啦，
逼佢出錯。
係啊，我覺得佢而家要逼對方出錯，同埋佢如果可以即係清楚啲，可以喺進攻同埋防守嗰度咧，即係不停咁樣去轉換咧，咁令到對方亂啲咧，咁佢就好打啦。係啦，佢好似呢啲劍咁樣咧，佢逼上去，咁對方以為可以搶，佢就做一個防。咁對方當唔敢做搶嘅時候咧，佢就突然之間打翻個進攻出去。咁佢喺呢個進攻同防守嗰度喺度不停咁樣轉換咧，就好過佢喺
比較。
抹一抹汗先。
如果 keep 住可以咁樣。打咧就好好多啦。見到啊馬路咧就其實想俾翻壓力江文慧嘅，咁而家留心咧就係可能馬路咧就係隨時會即係做一個公佈，雙方都係雙燈。
馬路雖然移動多咗，但係睇佢個款係有少少虛嘅。
係因為其實江文慧而家做多咗假動作咧，其實佢唔知自己嗰下咧應唔應該搶出去，因為之前一開始第一節其實佢係打得比較輕鬆嘅個公佈，但係江文慧而家其實有陣時一跳後就準備做一個防守，所以馬路都唔係咁夠膽話好簡單就打一個公佈出去。哇！嗨到啊呢下！
但係馬路真係手相對緊咗。
手還擊好嘅。
冇錯，捉緊呢個機會啦，因為馬路真係有啲手緊啦。雖然移動多咗，但係就唔似係一個戰術部署嚟嘅，佢似乎亂咗啦已經。
亂咗。同埋佢而家啲公佈對江文慧已經冇效啦，佢而家咁樣打個公佈出嚟，反而俾江文慧可以做到防守還擊。
冇錯。
咁而家呢一刻咧，佢就最好係咩咧？馬路而家猶豫自己打好唔打好咧，咁咧就係江文慧個機會啦。
希望佢唔好換劍啊！
係啦，唔好換劍，係啦，因為而家真係見到佢係亂咗啦。還擊好嘅。
10-10。
係啦，繼續食住個勢，而家江文慧咧就反而就真係好清晰去做一啲動作，假嘅引到對方出嚟，跟住之後咧就去防守，亦都有能力咧就係做一個進攻。
江文慧打出咗一段8-3嘅攻勢，追翻成平手。
希望佢咧就係繼續 keep 住要俾壓力對方嘅，真係唔好追平嘅時候就手軟。
準備好，準備。好嘅。哎呀！
雙燈。
差少少。
呢段其實見到佢起動得快啲。
係啊，馬路係相對被動啊。
係。
第三節仲有1分38秒。
睇準機會。
睇準機會，但係見阿江文慧就擺定咗少少把劍嘅而家。
兩位。
睇嚟大家好似想
缺一分喎。
係咯，唞一唞氣，睇下佢哋打唔打啦。
現場觀眾好似有啲意見喎。
係。
咁我逼馬路上去俾江文慧吉一下。
而家最後1分鐘，我諗大家都唔敢搏啊！
真係想缺一分喎。
咁喺劍擊個比賽入邊咧，如果時間到嘅話咧，雙方係平分嘅話啦，咁佢哋就會有一個1分鐘嘅時間去決一劍嘅。咁到時咧就係邊個着一個單燈先就會贏。咁當然啦，而家就仲有37秒嘅時間。係啦，咁因為咧喺過去嗰1分鐘啊，雙方運動員咧都冇得過分，咁咧就被視為咧係一個消極嘅比賽。咁而呢個係第2次嘅消極，所以咧就會有一個 P 嘅紅牌。咁因為紅牌出現啦，咁所以咧就大家都會加1分。咁見到個分數咧就變咗而家係12-12啦。咁但係我覺得對呢個戰局應該都唔會太大改變㗎啦，應該等呢30秒可能過去，跟住就係最緊張刺激嘅1分鐘。一劍就決出呢一個嘅奧運冠軍嘅機會都極大啦。
睇下有冇人偷襲啦。
如果係你嗰個，可能你會有。
我會偷襲啊！我會衝扮嘢跟住衝埋。
係咯，即係點都係打一劍，你幾時打啫嘛？
係啊。係咯。嗱，9秒7、6、5次偷襲啊！4、3、2、1。
係去到最緊張刺激嘅時間啦。咁啦，而家打比賽之 前咧，咁就會抽一個優先權嘅。抽一個優先權係咩意思咧？就係話，如果一陣間1分鐘冇人贏到嘅話咧，就有優先權嗰個咧就會贏過呢個比賽嘅。係啦，咁或者咧喺一陣嗰1分鐘裏邊，邊個首先着燈就邊個贏。如果兩盞燈一齊着，睇翻原位再打過。
冇錯，一個單體死亡。
時間咧就得翻1分鐘嘅啫，而家係得1分鐘嘅啫，係啦，只係俾多1分鐘佢哋呢個國家加時1分鐘嘅啫，係得。
即係突然死亡啦！
而家就係
係啦，突然死亡，
好似足球射12碼嘅突然死亡
1分鐘。
咁而家見到呢個優先權咧就喺江文偉嗰度嘅，咁但係呢一劍點都係打㗎啦，好少可咧係話時間到咧跟住會贏嘅。緊張。
雙燈。
永遠都有呢啲情況㗎。
係。
即係嚟個炸糊。
咁啊，因為雙燈啦，咁啊未分到勝負，咁咧就喺翻佢哋着燈嗰個位置，咁啊再打嘅。
哇！大家有電話攞電話啦，有電腦攞電腦影低歷史時刻啊！
睇準機會防佢。
don't want to be too negative on the first day of the swimming either, but are we a bit nervous about Team GB? I know this wasn't going to be Tokyo, and I know that wasn't the expectation, but from what we've seen so far...
Well, you can forget your pool party that you were on about. We're not doing that, that's for starters. But you know what, if you do contrast it, we had the best games in 100 years at the last Olympics. We won 8 medals with 4 golds. You know, we are clinging by a thread here with Adam Peaty. You know, there's a great image of him watching that second semi-final, which I've never seen him do before, taking a real interest in the competition. I think if Adam can somehow win that gold medal tomorrow, we will have forgot about the first day. But if it's a third, or, you know, I don't even want to think about it, if he's outside the medals, then I think you're starting to hit some buttons that might suggest panic stations.
We didn't win a medal in the swimming pool on the first day in Tokyo. You know, there's not that many medals to come. I think we get excited about how Adam's doing on the first 2 days, and that's kind of been an indication of how the team's going to go. And yeah, he's done a pretty good job. He's going into the finals fastest qualifier. Yeah. I think we could all feel quite content. I think that was a potential medal that they could have got. There's a missed opportunity, but it was by no means a nailed on. It's not like if we saw the 4x200 freestyle relay miss the podium. So yes, an opportunity, not a nailed on one, but I still think there's been some good swims that makes me feel confident about how the team's going.
Thank you, Karen. That's exactly what I needed to hear.
We can party still.
Oh, that's exactly what I wanted to hear, that the pool bar is still a possibility at the end of this week. Adam Peaty's performances then might be something of a bellwether for Team GB across the swimming meeting of these Paris Olympics. We will hear from him very shortly, and we'll also be rounding up the rest of the day's action, and we'll hear from the 2 GB medalists so far after the BBC News. Alison Hughes.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Thanks, Kelly. Reports from Israel say 11 teenagers and young adults have been killed and 19 injured in a rocket strike which hit a football pitch in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights. The Lebanese Hezbollah movement has denied responsibility. Earlier, the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza said at least 30 people had died in an Israeli strike on a school where displaced Palestinians were sheltering. Israel said it targeted a Hamas command and control centre in the building. The former Home Secretary, Priti Patel, has announced she's running to be the next leader of the Conservative Party. She joins James Cleverly, Tom Tugendhat, Robert Jebrick and the former Work and Pension Secretary Mel Stride, who've all said they will stand. And tens of thousands of Canadians have had to leave their homes in the town and national park of Jasper in Alberta. The wildfire affecting the area is still burning out of control.
Whatever you're in the mood for this summer, find it on BBC iPlayer. I'm in! Dive into explosive US box sets like Suits.
The bar tried to get me to take over as managing partner. They can't do that. They can and they have.
Buckle up for original comedy with Black Ops.
This sounds dangerous.
It is. We'll do it.
Hey, you stop just saying we'll do it. Or binge on gripping drama like Kin.
We're gonna have to increase revenue and that will mean expanding out of Dublin.
If we don't, find a new supplier. We're finished.
Watch on BBC iPlayer.
The Olympic Games, Paris 2024.
With Kelly Kears.
BBC Radio 5 Live.
Hello, welcome back to Paris. Day 1 of the Olympics is drawing to a close, but Great Britain are on the medal table.
It's going to be a bronze for Great Britain on day 1 of the Olympic Games in Paris.
complicated. It may be an Olympic final tomorrow, but it's going to be an absolute privilege to be out there from what we've both been through. And you know, this sport is so testing, but you can't beat that really. Great crowd, I enjoyed it. I'm loving it again. So what else can you add except for a chocolate cake?
Saw a beautiful shot of your son. Does he know what Daddy's doing?
Don't even talk about my son, it just makes me cry. He goes, Daddy, are you the fastest boy? That's what he says. Even if I haven't seen him for 2 weeks, that's all he cares about, I guess. But you know, I guess I just want to be the fastest boy tomorrow. Keep it simple.
What do you do between now and then?
Recovering. Probably a lot to work on still technically, but it's really tough on that back end because I know that this field has been a bit slower. All respect due. It's just where the Olympics work. You know that. It ain't about a time here. It's about the races, and I'm hoping that's good enough time there for Wilby to get through the final as well. We'll see what these do here. Because I've been racing Wilby now for a very long time, and it's an absolute pleasure, an absolute privilege to have someone who is, you know, finding new ways to do the sport. It's just myself, and needs a lot more respect.
That was Adam Peaty talking. Karen Pickering and Steve Parry are here as well. He was really emotional. You spotted it right from the off, Karen, and was not that comfortable talking about his son because he said that might be the thing that tipped him over the edge. But I think probably in terms of his words, the most significant thing he said was, I'm loving it again. You can see that when he finishes the races.
And that's what he needed, isn't it? He's getting out of the water thinking, oh, I didn't enjoy that, I didn't like that, but I've got to go again tomorrow. It's another story. And you can't hide that either. You know, you can come out with some lines in an interview, but you can't really hide that feeling. And you know, talking about his son, and it is beautiful when you have a child there watching, and he'll know that it doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. You know, he's still daddy to a beautiful boy, and that's all that matters. Really, everything else is a bonus on top. Everything he's done and everything he can do is just a massive bonus on top. And I really enjoyed that interview.
It was a really lovely, really emotional interview from Adam Peaty, but he does seem to have his head in the game as well. It doesn't feel like it's come at the expense of him losing focus, Steve.
I think the thing that's buoyed him is that he's fastest. You know, I think if you'd have said to him, you're going to go 58.9 at the Olympics, I don't think he would have been very pleased by that news at all. But knowing that everyone else in that field is going slow, because it is a relatively slow 100 metres breaststroke compared to what we've seen, not just him, the whole field over the years. Let's make no mistake about this, it's going to be down and dirty and ugly, and I think it's going to come down to heart tomorrow night. Which one of these guys really wants it the most? Because they're in pain in these races, and it's going to be who can go through that. And what a fitting end it would be for Adam if he could get through that. I think probably 58.4 might win that race, which will not feature in Adam's top 30 times in his career, but it might just be good enough to win.
We'll talk much more about his path to Paris, I'm sure, in the build-up to the final tomorrow. But Adam Peaty qualifying for the men's 100 metres breaststroke. You'll be able to hear that on 5 Live Sport tomorrow night. And you can also hear a lot more from Adam Peaty. There's an in-depth conversation with Gordon Ramsay, who is also his partner's father.
like mistake on dive 3, and the first time that the women have got a synchronised diving medal at the Olympic Games, and the first female diving medal for 60 years. So the fact that it was the first time in 20 years that Great Britain have got a medal on day 1. It was in the pool, and it was really making history for those girls.
It was such a turnaround, wasn't it, in that final round? They were outside the medal places heading into that final round, and then as Karen was explaining, that mistake from the Australian team meant that only Italy could go above the Brits and into third.
Back somersaults, it was a good dive, but there might be some issues that the judges will find. It's certainly not a glaring error like the Aussies, but what will the Brits feel about that?
Well, I've got to think that they must feel that they're in with a chance now. The Italians, one of them could barely get her legs over. She had to save the dive by bending her knees to look like she was going in straight there. The judges doubt will be fooled by that, but they're not.
They're not. 4th for Italy. It's going to be a bronze for Great Britain on day 1 of the Olympic Games in Paris. And it's going to be Britain's first ever female synchro diving medal. What an extraordinary achievement. Scarlett, Mew Jensen and Yasmin Harvey
49.7. This evening, 48.5 Whipple. So there's 0.7 of a second there between in the difference of those swimmers. And you know, the management make the calls that they think are going to work, but they're a second outside